There is B, A and B. One is larger than the other. And then Ngemwa, 13 is towards Chukube on that side, and then Kijumba near Wambapia. Then now in Bugambe, we have Chungajembe as an intermediate center and 3 other neighborhood centers of Katanwa. Katanwa is between the Wambapia and the tea estate, Ruenkobe and Kakopo. We tried to enclose Wambapia Central Forest Reserve within Hopper such that the integrity of that boundary is managed within Hopper. Because if we left that boundary open, encroachment would probably happen from that direction. So that is it. And then finally, we have Kizaramfumbi with 3 centers. Kidomambutimba is the main. And then we have Buhumiro right down to the south and Nyamigogo. 17,000 people. So these are the 22 urban centers that are proposed with a rural population of about 33,000. As you can see, we are proposing compact urban centers so that we can leave a lot to open green, forestry, farming, ranching, and yes, and this is consistent with the ATM, the agricultural component of it, that people should have what to feed into the agro-processing chain. Otherwise, if you build up the whole area, then other people will farm and bring to the agro-processor. And the people in that area will have no farmland. So that is what we are trying to avoid. Just zooming in a bit, this is Buseruka Town Council, Buseruka Sub-County. You can see, this is Buseruka, Visenyi, and Ramtonga. We have, yes, that gives an impression about how we see Visenyi developing, how we see Buseruka developing, how we see Ramtonga developing. So we try to go now into a little bit more, trying to intersperse green within and not to just have a fully built up area. Railway station, there's a bit of editing to do, but this is the main road and this is the railway line. So we were still working out, but this is where the railway lines are going to be, the depots and the station. Nyamasoga will be a bit constricted because it's within the flight path. So the heights of the buildings around Nyamasoga might be restricted. There will be a lot of noise. So we are going to try and discourage too much construction here. Because every time a plane takes off or lands, the noise will be too much. Of course, on this lower side, we've already kind of kept it green. Then Katoke, like I mentioned, Katoke, we might have to review it because it is quite close to the blast zone. But we are just presenting the draft. We got comments, and so we keep on getting comments. Now this is Kabale. We have that upper image should have changed. Nyakasinina is right next to the industrial park and also Nzorobi. These are some of the settlements we are proposing. Nkwachi, I hope you can see the arrows. Kijumba is a neighborhood local center. Also Chigaga is a small local center. You will let us know where Uganda Wildlife wants to put the hotel so that we can design and include it and ensure that it benefits from the infrastructure in this project, you will let us know. Also Ngemwa, so Kakopo, this is now in Bugambe, small neighborhood center. We have Chungajembe, we have Wenkobe and Katanwa. These are some of the centers we are proposing to have the infrastructure laid: roads, water, electricity, waste management, sewerage, everything. And so people just are able to come and erect their homes and live in organized environments. This is in Chiziramfumbi. We have, Kidoma Butimba is going to be, is still under review, but otherwise we have, as we can see, there is a, yes, this is Wuhumudro, and this is, which one is this again? Frank? Where's Frank? Sorry, this is Wuhumudro, and this is, I've forgotten the name, sorry, but this is now, what happened is that we realized that connectivity from Airport Road, this is Airport Road, to the interior is really not good. They really struggle. So we were proposing to open up in terms of bringing the road network and also having some services, but at a small scale, bringing services there. So when we are looking at the master plan, we look at the context, make sure that each center has a unique identity. We will propose the built form that will go in those areas and how people will move, how nature will be enhanced and optimized. Public spaces are very, very important. Public spaces, we ensure that they are there, that they are safe, social and inclusive. We promote mixed and integrated use, making sure that the homes and buildings are functional, healthy and sustainable. Efficient resources, like now when you have more people together, you spend less per person when you're bringing infrastructure. That is more efficient, and also that it is made to last. So all in all, that is in summary the master plan. We will go now to look at the proposed governance structure. How do we see HOPA being implemented? We need a governance structure. First of all, an interministerial steering committee. As you know, you called him PS Emeritus. Yes, ministries work in silos. We were at the Ministry of Works, but now Uganda Railway Corporation. You find like they have no idea about a railway line to the industrial park. They have no plans. You see, for a railway line to the industrial park. And, as we kept on meeting ministries, we realized that there is need for an interministerial steering committee where under the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, so the chairperson would be the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development. Would have then the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development as a member, Works and Transport, NEMA, Water and Environment, National Planning Authority, and the local governments would be represented on this steering committee, and the Office of the Prime Minister. Then Uganda Refinery Holding Company, that's the one developing the industrial park, would be a member, Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development. So we are hoping that we will begin with the interministerial committee that would provide strategic guidance and policy direction, review and approve annual work plans and budgets prepared by the HOPA Secretariat. We will come to that. We are proposing a special secretariat. resolve cross-sectoral issues and conflicts that may arise among ministries, agencies, or local governments, strengthen coordination across sectors and with local governments. So under the Interministerial Steering Committee, we would have the HOPA Secretariat. This secretariat we are proposing will be the one to coordinate the developments within the HOPA area, of course in close collaboration with the local districts. There would be an office of the coordinator and different units: planning, monitoring and policy, infrastructure and land development, environmental and social safeguards, development and building control, public safety and environmental compliance, records and data management, administration and finance. So we are thinking that, as you will see later on, the amount of work and resources needed to bring this plan to life will require support to the local governments. There is a project called USMID, for example. They have the different urban authorities within the project, but with support from the center. So that is a more or less similar situation, that whereas the local governments are doing the work on the ground, they get support from the secretariat. The third organ we are proposing is the Local Coordination Committee, where we'll have representatives from affected local governments, community leaders, hoping that at least a third would be women, religious institutions, representatives from civil society, landowners and private business community, cultural institutions. These will form the Local Coordination Committee. So in a snapshot, you have the Ministry of Lands as at the top. Then you have the Interministerial Steering Committee chaired by the PS, Ministry of Lands, that oversees the Secretariat, HOPA Secretariat, under which you can see the different proposed units that will coordinate the implementation of the plan. Now, the Office of the Coordinator will have a direct link to the Local Coordination Committee, which will also act as an advisory committee and also ensuring that the Secretariat is in touch with the people. So that is how we propose the governance structure of the implementation process. A quick one, like I had mentioned, the different pillars. I think these ones I had mentioned them already. The different pillars under which we are proposing and having budget lines for the implementation. And here we try to go a step further to quantify the cost of actually implementing this. It's still rough, but we are looking at roads, energy, water, sanitation, waste management, standard gauge railway in some places, of all the urban centers. So we are saying Buseruka might need about 1.3 trillion to actually make it work. And we went step by step, each urban center, the cost that it would probably take to lay out those infrastructure lines, if I may say. You can see the intermediate centers are in red. Those ones go, okay, Kavale is a special intermediate center, but they're in around the ranges of 200 to 400 billion to lay infrastructure as proposed. Then the black are the neighborhood centers, which are normally around 65 billion. So, like I said, we went getting budget lines for each. Nzorobi, Chigaga A, Katoke, Nyamasoga, railway station. These are the costs that we see, at least in terms of infrastructure. And I personally feel that in response to your question, why aren't these plans implemented? I do not know whether they went down to to actually highlight how much it will cost and task government to look for this money, because this is a central government. These are central government figures, not local government. But once you identify that I need this amount of money, then if money is allocated, the plan will be implemented. But if it is not allocated, it is then very clear why. Why not? Because the funds were not provided. And this will help actually the Secretariat ask for these funds. You see, Kidoma Butimbe Main Center will need about 1.5 trillion. And so these are the 22 centers. We went trying to break down the costs. I will show you later how this, okay. And importantly, in the rural area, the roads that are supposed to traverse and the attendant services that go along the roads will be about 785 billion to get done. So just infrastructure alone, we need about 9 trillion. How will it come? How will it come? And if it doesn't come, then they shouldn't wonder why the master plan was not implemented, And this is definitely central government to bring the money. You cannot get this money from the private sector. So in our master plan, we go center by center, outlining the land uses, giving a few details about them and the areas. But most importantly, we also go and say, like, for example, in Kabale Intermediate Center, we'll have about 30 kilometers of road length. Solid waste, we need to handle 16 tons per day. Wastewater, we need to handle a certain, I think, almost 2,000 cubic meters per day. We need a water reservoir of about 4,200 cubic meters a day. The amount of electricity in terms of length, so we just went by the road length, 30 kilometers of electrical distribution, 30 kilometers of water distribution. We had a unit rate for everything. The road unit rates vary because some are major roads, some are minor, but it varies. We just got an average. And that's how you get, for example, the infrastructure costs of Kabale. So we went doing that for each and every center. Also, in the implementation budget, we proposed some projects that would happen in the short term, or at least begin in the short term, and slow start. We need 1.6 trillion. Then as you go into the project in the medium term, more projects we propose to start, 5.3 trillion. And as you wind down towards 2040, 3.6 trillion. So these are some of the estimates we gave. So if a proper governance structure is put in place and funds are availed, we hope, therefore, that this plan will be implemented. Minus that, it will probably not be. So right now, the figures are tentatively a total of 10.7 trillion. And with that, I just wanted to say that this is where we are at. We are very open to your comments, contributions, questions, suggestions, proposals, because this is a draft. Yes, before we get into that, we can just have a word from Professor that will usher us into the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Bernard, for the presentation. This is Jacob. We are here for next time.